Okay, so told y'all that shit was gonna go as soon as it got warmer. I haven't done a video in a while, so and something I said over Facebook to someone brought this video's idea to my mind. So check this out. Now, the idea that gender or gender identity or gender roles is a social construct is correct. However, you have to understand that that identity, that definition of what it requires, of what makes a person that gender, is also not relevant. Think about that. Here's the thing, all right? At the basic cellular level, you have Y chromosomes, you're a man. Whatever plastic surgery you use to alter your appearance to look like a female, regardless of whether or not you wish to be a female or believe yourself to be a female, does not alter the fact that at the basic cellular level, at something that makes up your DNA, that you yourself are male. Simple as that. Now, whether or not you're a man's a different story. See, this is where the concept of the societal, cultural aspect of what makes a person their gender comes into play. So, alright, check this out. If you, depending on your culture's definition of what a man is, this is also why several tribal cultures had tests of manhood, because you had to go through this ritualized test to prove that you were a man. You had to prove that you were a man, because being a man is what gave you the right to marry, to have a family, stuff like that. Being a man required certain qualifying factors. It wasn't simply just having the male sex organs. It was being a certain way, being certain people, being a certain type of person. In most tribal cultures, even going to Irish Celtic culture, Cherokee tribal culture, even African tribal culture, being a man usually required certain things. And this matter of definition is the reason why we have things like the selective service. Because culturally speaking, traditionally speaking, even going back to American colonial culture, a man had to provide for himself, had to be able to provide and protect his family. Nuclear family was the core of this in every culture. He had to protect his community, and he had to protect his country. Now think about this. Why is family first? Because as a father, as a man, hell, not even a father, let's say an uncle, a cousin, as the male in the family who wears the mantle of a man, it is my duty to protect members of my family who are unable to protect themselves. Think about that. So, yes, the women and children, they were my duty to protect. It doesn't matter if they were my wife, my sister, my cousin. They're my job to protect. Now think about this. Now, when you get into the idea of certain cultures having what we would call shield maidens, you have to understand something. For one, a maiden was an unmarried woman. For 2, a shield maiden was the last thing to defend those women and children. These were young girls, what some of us would, even older women, some of us what we call spinsters, who were trained for war because their husbands and brothers were warriors. So they were trained for war right alongside the boys when they were little girls. And as they became women, they had that sense of warriorhood and duty and stuff like that. This is where a lot of the arranged marriages came from to establish peace. Because if my family's fighting with your family and we want to establish peace, then the easiest way to do this is to marry your son to my daughter or my daughter to your son. And so now that we are related, both by the blood of our children's offspring and by the law, the oath of marriage, that they would therefore be, we would be a extended family, a clan, if you will. So what happens is this: men are required to be providers. Men are required to be protectors. If I cannot protect my family, how am I going to protect my community? If I cannot protect my community, how am I going to protect my nation? Simple as that. So we now live in a culture where people are trying to ask, what is the definition of a woman? The definition of a woman is, at the most cellular level, someone who is born with 2 X chromosomes. That's it. Simple as that. And they reach an age where they can produce offspring. They're no longer a child, they are a woman. Some cultures had tests of womanhood, some did not. The test of manhood was always a matter because as a man, it doesn't matter. You're being tested no matter what. So if you cannot, this is why my generation, this is why older generations were told, well, there's a bully. Go stand up and fight that motherfucker. Because if you can't defend yourself, how are you going to defend your family? So, and I point this out. I described this in the Cherokee Bushcraft Survival book that I wrote. I talk about this cultural aspect of Cherokee culture. The Cherokee test of manhood is that a boy goes out into the woods with his father, blindfolded, and is left somewhere and must stay there all night without removing his blindfold. And other men in the family might rustle bushes, they might growl, they might do all these things, or they might not even be present. But the father must sit there and watch his son all night long. Why? To protect his son, because that is his duty as a man. When the dawn rises, you still cannot take that blindfold off until your father shows up and tells you you can. So, what is the importance of this? Why is this a test of manhood? Because it is not what you see, it is what you think that creates fear. Fear is the perception that something bad might happen. And so, in the course of this, once the boy has realized that he is part of something larger than himself, that his fears, his inadequacies do not matter, that includes the fear of death, what happens is essentially this: he does as he was told. He does so without question. He does not place any value upon himself or anything else. He knows that this is a test and that he must pass it, and he must do so by not taking off that blindfold. And in his perception, there's no one there to know whether or not he took that blindfold off or not, whether he peeked or not. So what happens is this: if he takes the blindfold off, he is not a man, he has become a child. And he will remain a child for however long. Maybe he can retake this test of manhood, maybe not, depending on the situation. If he flees, takes the blindfold off, and runs through the forest in the middle of the night trying to get home, then guess what? he is still a child. And he may be able to retake this test of manhood. And I still think that there should be a test of manhood that should qualify people as adults. Because honestly, people are quite stupid. And so we have people trying to redefine what a woman is by saying that a man who acts like a woman, who wants to be a woman, who has cosmetic surgery to, for lack of a better term coming to mind, pretend to be a woman, is therefore a woman. And to me, no. Look, whether or not a person is gay is irrelevant. Whether a person wants to dress like a woman is irrelevant. What happens is essentially this. You have to be, if you cannot define what a woman is, you cannot define what a man is. See, because in most of these primitive cultures, women had specific definitions for what society said that a woman was. Even if she was a shield maiden, she still must be a woman, a mother. She must provide for her children. A mother, she must protect her children. Yeah, think about that. A person who is seen as a caregiver. And so in this way, yes, society defines male and female. They define gender roles. And it is what it is. Now, that being said, the social definition, so yes, you know, some of the woke people are right, according to sociology and psychology and stuff like that. Male and female are defined, man and woman are defined by gender roles defined by society. However, you still have this thing. Your societal definition of what is a man or a woman is unique to each culture. And in that regard, your definition of what is a man or a woman is irrelevant to the biological fact of 2X and an XY chromosome. Think about this. It does not matter, because according to the cultural traditions of the Heinz 57 sauce that makes up my DNA, most of them, actually all of them, define a woman as a caregiver, as a protector, as a shelter for children, as a safe place for and a helpmeet for the man. A man is still defined as a fucking protector and a provider. It is not a matter of societal definition. It is a matter of cultural obligation, duty, if you will. You can define it however you want, but you cannot redefine the biological imperative of nature. Simply, you can't get past it. Look, see this right here? This is steel. I cannot bend steel with my bare hands. See, I'm trying. It doesn't work. And the reason why I cannot is because there's a natural order to things. You cannot alter your DNA at the basic cellular level. I don't care what hormones you take. You cannot alter your DNA at the basic cellular level to become something else. And it basically comes down like this. I don't care how a person lives their life, that is on them. If you desire to switch gender roles and such within society, if that society allows it, cool. But here's what I'm going to tell you. It does not change your biological DNA. It does not change the building blocks of what you are, right? You can put a trailer on the foundation of a castle, but you cannot put a castle on the foundation of a trailer. Think about that. You cannot alter the foundation, the basic genetic sequence of what you are, even if you want to redefine the public image of who you are. So, yes, in a way, the woke people are right. Gender is a social construct. Well, gender roles, gender identity is a social construct. However, understanding that that social construct is a matter of society and culture and has nothing to do with the biological makeup of who a person is very important. Because that social construct is based upon the physical foundation of your biology, of your base DNA code. Can't get past it. X and Y chromosomes. And so, and talking about this, I might do another video later talking about transhumanism and why transsexuality is a part of transhumanism. But you're going to eventually come down to this aspect that foundation of biology is what establishes the social roles within society. And while you might find yourself evolving past this primitive society, as people call it, you are not in any way, shape, or form evolving beyond your base DNA code. Think about that.